Every day of my life, I'm talking to estate agents about how to increase their productivity and how to get better results regardless of what's happening in the market. It doesn't matter what industry you may be in, or whether you're running a business, or even if you're working in an industry as a salesperson. The market does not determine your outcome, but rather the market determines your strategy. And the basis behind this is that you can't impact the market, right? Markets change, everything moves in cycles, and how do we get through this cycle and this phase in the market, knowing that there's going to be a shift at some point in the future? How do we keep reacting to that market? So what I want to do in this session is to go, well, what happens when a market turns? What do we do? What do we always focus on? What is going on in your market right now? Where do you find yourself? Are you able to step back and go, right, I can identify what's going on in the market? And then the big question is how do you shift your strategy to make sure you're doing the best things for you in your industry and in your market right now? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Thoughtonomy podcast, where we like to help you to think for yourself in a world that wants to do it for you. And we're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to talk about markets, changing markets, how markets can be really, really dynamic, and how you have to react to changes in the market regardless of what your industry is. Obviously, my background is real estate. I've got a Remax business with 70 real estate agents. So every day of my life, I'm talking to estate agents about how to increase their productivity and how to get better results regardless of what's happening in the market. But let me start out by saying this with regards to markets. And this is a statement that it doesn't matter what industry you may be in, or whether you're running a business, or even if you're working in an industry as a salesperson. And the statement goes like this: the market does not determine your outcome, but rather the market determines your strategy. It's quite a powerful statement if you can grasp it. The market doesn't determine your outcome, the market determines your strategy. And the basis behind this is that you can't impact the market, right? Markets change, everything moves in cycles. In fact, there's a natural law of the universe called the law of rhythm, which states that everything moves in cycles. And that's business markets, your own body moves in cycles, seasons move in cycles, what goes up must come down. And that's the key thing to understand with markets, is that whatever market you may be in right now, it's not going to be that market forever. So how do we get through this cycle and this phase in the market, knowing that there's going to be a shift at some point in the future? And how do we, as salespeople, sales professionals, and business owners, how do we keep reacting to that market? So I think understanding the law of rhythm is super, super important. And sure, in the 20 years that I've done this, I can say that understanding markets and cycles and understanding the law of rhythm means I've never stressed about a down market, or what I would regard as a down market. And I've also never got too excited when the market's doing really, really well. I've always rather just focused on how do I position the business and how do I talk to my salespeople about the conditions that we're experiencing now and how we adjust our strategy getting through the market to make sure that we're always as productive as we can be. So what I want to do in this session is to go, well, what happens when a market turns? What do we do? What do we always focus on? But to give you a little example, and I know I'm going to give you a real estate example because that's my game, but I'm sure you'll agree with me, we don't control markets. There's nothing you and I can do in our daily life to control where a market is. In our industry, the real estate market is predominantly conditioned by interest rates. It's determined by interest rates. So I'll give you a quick example. When interest rates go up, debt becomes more expensive, home loans become more expensive, more people put their homes on the market for financial reasons. Maybe they have to downscale, maybe they have to free up some debt or some liabilities, so we get more stock on the market. Now imagine a market where there's more homes, interest rates have gone up, so now it's less affordable to buy a home, so the number of buyers disappear in the market as well. So it's a double whammy where your supply and demand is completely skewed, where you've got too much supply and too little demand. So buyers are now in control. Real estate agents have to adjust the strategy to what they're doing on their day-to-day basis to make sure that those sellers that they do have on the market, their pricing strategies are perfect. So we do a lot of work with agents on pricing strategies, talking price counseling with sellers, making sure your seller is the most competitive home in a large pool of properties for sale. We also focus on buyers. because now there's a smaller pool of buyers. So we got to make sure we're giving the best advice to buyers. We're building relationships with buyers, and we're securing those buyers who are in the market to look for the stock that we have on our books. When the market shifts, when the interest rates start going down, it changes the dynamic completely. As the rate comes down, more buyers come into the market because it's now more affordable to buy a property. So we have more buyers and we have fewer sellers. There's fewer people putting their homes on the market. So again, our strategies change. So what is going on in your market right now? Where do you find yourself? Are you able to step back and go, right, I can identify what's going on in the market? And then the big question is how do you shift your strategy to make sure you're doing the best things for you in your industry and in your market right now? So there's a couple of things that I always focus on, and there are some things that don't change according to changes in the markets, but only you will know what your strategy is. But the one thing that I always sit back on is my little formula definition of success. And for me, success equals discipline plus resilience. So what do I mean by that? It doesn't matter what goal or what number I want somebody in my business to achieve. I can always break that number down into the daily activities that they need to do in order to be successful. So once we've got our goal and we've got our number, whatever it may be for you, break it down into what are the activities that I have to do on a daily basis to hit my number for the year. Once I have that, that's my blueprint, that's my plan. Now I need to just attack my plan with discipline and resilience. So discipline for me is doing the things that you have to do at the time you need to do it, whether you feel like it or not. So whatever my plan is, whether I'm on a diet or whether it's my business strategy and the activities for my business, I got to do those activities every single day. And it requires a lot of discipline for me to ensure that when I wake up on one morning and I don't feel like going to work or I don't feel like doing my calls, I got to find a way to discipline myself or have someone hold me accountable to be disciplined in my daily activities, but I've got to do them every single day. And then the resilience that comes in, discipline plus resilience, the resilience comes in that you're going to do your activities every single day and you're not going to get results every day. This is seed planting. When we're doing our prospecting and our lead generation, all our activities that we need to do in our business on a day-to-day basis to achieve long-term results, it requires resilience because you're not going to get results every single day. But we have to imagine that we're like farmers and we're planting seeds every single day. If I stop planting the seeds today, if I stop doing my activities today, I'm going to feel it in 3 months' time. And that's the danger. You're not going to feel it today. If you woke up today and you decided that you were going to skip some of the things that you needed to do for your diet, it would be okay today. You'd get away with it. But if you did it for 3 weeks, you'd wake up in 3 weeks' time and you start noticing some changes in your body. It's the same with your business. If you don't make your calls today, if you don't do your branding today, if you don't do your activities today that are geared for future business, it's not going to impact you today. You're not going to feel it today. But if you slip on the discipline and the habits, the negative habits starts sort of sifting into your business where you're not doing these things consistently, you'll wake up one day and you've gone 3 weeks without doing them. And then it'll start to hurt you. So that definition of success equals discipline plus resilience is something that I live by, and I try and get my agents to live by that as well. It's very difficult. It's difficult because the discipline side of it, not the discipline side of it, human beings want instant gratification. So I've literally just had a chat with an agent this morning who's feeling really, really down because she's doing the activities and she's not getting the results. My response is, you got to keep persisting. You got to keep doing the activities day in and day out, and then you got to find the resilience to make sure that you don't quit. You don't want to quit when you're a couple of days away from an amazing lead or a new opportunity that you may have missed if you had quit. So what are the type of activities? I always look at branding and marketing. Those are the two most powerful things that a salesperson can do, and it's all geared around relationships. So for me, marketing is the activities that you do in terms of your calls, your emails, your messages, your networking, your social media. We're talking to the people that we know. Marketing's about who you know. Relationships and sales are linked very, very closely. Everything about sales is relationships. Whether it's past clients, whether it's family, friends, acquaintances, people that you know, always remember that people want to do business with people they like and trust. So that's where we go. We can do the cold stuff. We can do the cold callings. There's a place for that. It's a lot harder. It's a lot more difficult. If you consider in my market, I always say to my agents, there's probably around 400 real estate agents in our market. And if everyone's phoning people on a particular street or in a certain complex, they're going to be getting calls from salespeople every single day who they do not know. Rather focus on the people that you do know and build a marketing strategy around how do I continuously communicate with those people. People who have referred to me in the past, people who have done business with me in the past, they already like you, they already know you. And if you did a good job with them, they're going to want to use you again, or more importantly, they're going to refer you to people they know. So that's the marketing side of the business, and those are the activities that we focus on daily, is keeping in touch, ensuring that our relationships with our database and our sphere of influence are strong. Even if it's networking, if it's getting out networking in social circles and influential social circles of people that know and like you, we've got to keep doing this all the time. The branding side of the business, it's also really, really powerful. And branding is something that you should never stop. Branding is about who knows you. So remember I said marketing is about who you know. Branding is about who knows you. In other words, when you put stuff out on social media, when you put stuff out on outdoor media or any form of branding media, imagine you were on radio. You're speaking to 1 million people. You don't know who you're speaking to, but they all know you. So when people are driving past and they're seeing your branding, or they're scrolling on their Instagram and they happen to have you come up on their feed, you don't know them, but they know you. And the trick with branding is you've got to be consistent and repetitive. And repetition builds your reputation. So whatever you do repetitively builds your reputation. And the more somebody sees you, the bigger they think you are. And the bigger they think you are, the more they want to reach out and deal with you when it comes time to transact in your industry. So those are the two things I would focus on in a tougher market. Is I would take this success formula of success equals discipline plus resilience, and I would double my activities. The tendency with human beings is to go, well, the market's slow, so there's not much more I can do. I disagree with that 100%. When the market's slow, there's still business to be had. Double your activities, triple your activities if you have to. If you've got more time because you're not doing enough business, that means you've got more time to increase your activities. And it's completely relative. So if I wanted to earn R1 million this year in real estate and I had to do 5 calls a day, just giving you a really random example, if the market's quiet, what would happen if I did 25 calls a day? How would that impact my business in three months from now? So when things are slow, when things are quiet, go back into your activities, double them, triple them, and do them consistently over a longer period of time, and watch how that impacts you in 3 months from now. And then from a branding perspective, I'd make myself louder and more visible. And remember the concept of repetition. Just like when you're planting seeds on your phone calls, you can't expect to make 5 calls today and get a result. But if I made 25 or 30 calls over a month, I'm more likely to get a result from that. It's the same with branding. If I do 1 post today, it may be seen and forgotten. But if I'm repetitively posting and I'm branding myself over a period of time, I'm building a reputation for myself and people are watching you. And you won't know it initially, but one day you'll bump into somebody and go, hey, I've seen you everywhere. And you're going to go, okay, it's working. So that's my message for today, is just to remember that markets change, they do shift. So when a market shifts, what are you going to be in control of? You're always in control of the activities that you do in your business on a daily basis. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've not read my Thoughtonomy book yet, go grab a copy of it on the thoughtonomybook.co.za website. Great gift for somebody who's struggling. It asks the right questions in terms of, if I'm feeling stuck, what do I do? If I want to shift or a change in my life, what are some of the things that I need to be asking myself? A lot of self-introspection in the book. So if you haven't grabbed a copy yet, go and grab it off thoughtonomybook.co.za, and we'll see you next time.